Hey Woodlanders, welcome back. In episode 2 of the Woodlog, we're going to be looking at coppicing in a micro scale in someone's garden. Then next we're going to have a little bit of a woodland chit chat in a coppice in Rosseston. After that we're going to be cross-cutting some hazel with a Truncator with some modifications. So I hope you can stay along. Feel free to like, comment, share and subscribe. Feet are freezing today, it's only about 3 degrees. So this morning I'm out on a job in Woodland-on-Trent, a beautiful spot, and just coppicing some hazel I cut 3 years ago. It's just at the end of spinning at the end of someone's garden, and she just wanted it cut again. So I'm getting some binders, some pea sticks and a few weaving rods out of this one, but it's rather a nice little spot. I've just finished cutting and just got to dress out now with a billock. Some of these stalls are pretty big, probably about 5 foot across on some of them. It's rather a beautiful day. That's the Trent, River Trent in the foreground, with I think the Argos building in the background, that big square thing. So we're all done here, all finished and bundled up. Weavers, and we've got some binders here, and then over this side we have a few more binders. We've got some beam poles there, and there's a couple down the bank as well. But that's it, it's all done, all cut. Lovely day, absolutely freezing. Ready for home, my feet and toes and my hands are frozen. So I just finished the coppice in this one, this little block. It's planted about 20 years ago, and it's never really been cut before. So if you have a look at some of the materials you get out, most of it seems to be firewood or possibly conversion into charcoal. Get a few beam poles out of it, a few hedging stakes, but it shows us an awful lot of hard work for not a great deal of product. So ideally hazel you really want to be coppicing on a 6, 7 or 8 year rotation, whereas this has been 20 years and has never been cut. If I just turn around, you will see where I cut last winter, and there's just, you'll see the signs of the shoots coming up. So they've coppiced back quite well. The oaks I've been marking up, so you'll see an orange spot on this tree. It's quite a difficult one because this has been planted up with a lot of oaks in it, and I've planted loads of trees over the years, and when you see them marked up, and you have to mark them up, it's quite a difficult decision to know that you're actually cutting the trees out again. So most of this oak will go for the landowner. He'll convert it into firewood for his own use, and he sells a little bit of it, which is quite a hard choice, isn't it, knowing that you've got some half decent oak trees. But if I don't thin them out, then the hazel won't come back very well at all, because the stalls are only in sort of short, small clumps. The hazel won't come back at all, and then what you'll have is oaks that are too close together and a lot of dead hazel, which is not ideal. So that's the some of the challenging choices we have to make as coppice workers and woodland managers. So that's a little bit about what today is happening. It's pretty cold today, about +3 degrees, +4 degrees. And so next job is to dress out some rods. So those there, if we have a little wander through this coppice, that was some of last year's regrowth. And the muntjac deers have been nibbling away at it, which isn't great. That part there, that's for rods for hazel panels, and most of that was dead, so that's that pile there. Even though they look like half decent rods, because these oaks are so overshadowing now the hazel stalls are actually starting to die, and that's why it's so important to get in here now and start it. Some more rods for panels, lots and lots of firewood and charcoal material. I've already extracted the hedge lane stakes out of this. I've got absolutely no binders out of it at all, but quite a few hedge lane stakes, so I've probably got about 500 out of this one. There's some beam poles, been dressed out ready. They're 8 foot long. We sell those, always sell out of those, which is good. Some of the edges, got some massive ones here. Wander around, nice little woodland this one, quite dry, flat, which is good. Nice ground. Some of the larch are absolutely massive after 20 years, so good larch ground. I'll continue to get the beam poles out. Kind of challenge on this sort of site with this sort of quality of hazel and how long it's been neglected is it's very difficult to make any money. So I'm in agreement with the landowner that if he lets me in and I extract everything that I want, which is usually everything bar the brash, which I would like to be able to convert into charcoal, but the logistics of doing it, getting a machine in here, put it through the branch logger, getting it out, getting it back to our woodland and conversion, really just, I can't make that work at all at the moment. But I'm looking into some options for that. But as for trying to extract stuff out and make any money off it, this kind of woodland is really quite difficult because it's been so poorly looked after over the years. The woodland itself is fine, but the coppice hasn't really been looked after. And so I've been working in here about 15-16 days, and I think so far I've got about £400 off it in hedge lane stakes. Once I sell the beam poles, that's a bit more cash come in, and then if I can convert some of this into firewood, which is probably about the only way I can make it pay on a day rate. But I quite enjoy it, and especially on days like today when it's nice and sunny, which is part of. And then if I got some rods out of it for the panels as well, it means I can carry on making panels and fulfill those orders, which is another aspect of what I do. Is really enjoyable and makes a nice feature product which people are really buying into. They appreciate woodland management, they appreciate rural craft, which is great for me and others, and the whole wildlife benefits of coppice management for me is the best low impact forestry management and woodland management there is in England at the moment, in the UK. So and many people are buying into that, which is great news. So yeah, once these oaks are thinned, which either the landowner or a community group called Heartwood Wood Fuel Community Group, they did last year's oak thinnings, and they may do this year's oak thinnings. And what they do is they come in, cut with saws, chainsaws. Fantastic group, and they take the firewood and then they leave a little bit for the landowner. But they did a brilliant job last year. So hopefully I can chat them up and get them to take these oaks out, and then that's this little block finished. And then in the distance where the sun's shining on those trees, there's more hazel over there, so I should be cutting probably about another 60 to 70 stools in there during January and February. This is one order I've got, 250 stakes for a hedge lane stakes. These are 5'6" long, around about 1.5 inches diameter, and they use these for hedge laying. Chap over near Nuneaton uses these. There's a lot of hedge laying in the winter. And then I've got another bundle over there that's been picked up Friday. That's another 300 hedge lane stakes. Today's mission is to try and cross cut some of this hazel This was 7 3-ton trailers full of hazel from a nearby woodland. When I'm cross-cutting, I tend to use what's known as a truncator. It's these plastic cups that tilt, grip you timber inside, and then they tilt up. But a first modification is to adjust these gaps here so that I can get a log that's 9 inches long, because these are just slightly too long at the moment. I reckon the challenge I'm going to have is coming in here. I'm going to probably catch the chainsaw on these cups. So using the truncator, get your log, just keep dropping them in to work brilliantly. Works brilliantly for hazel and smaller diameter woods. I wouldn't use a truncator for bigger stuff. I've got a different log horse for that. Keep popping your logs in. Cram them in, get the bungee over the top in the clamp, and then you're good to go there. Pretty secure really. And then it's just a case of cross-cutting that with the chainsaw down there, down the gaps on the end, and then all you do then is tip the cups up. That drops either into your trailer, or in this case I'm just going to drop it on the floor for now. So the new 9-inch slots on the truncator seem to be working alright. Not managed to catch the plastic cups yet. Producing half decent 8-9-inch size logs. So I've been cutting all day. That's about it for today. Had a little bit of help from Able To family. So having the slightly thinner gaps there, it's worked out quite well. A couple of very slight catches with the chainsaw. But what I'm going to do now is because this is too difficult to work on in the trailer because it's too far away from the trailer sides, it can hit me back. I want to be able to bolt this to the side of the trailer so that I can cross cut on the side of the trailer and then tip the cups straight in the trailer. So my idea is to use these 6x2 pieces of joist, screw them together in like a L shape, screw the cups to that, and then use a clamp to clamp it to the side of the trailer while I cross cut. And then all I need to do then is just, when I want to use the stand, is to clamp this to the stand, and I can use the stand again like that. So that's the idea. So we'll see how this progresses. Okay, so I've got those screwed onto my new pieces of 6x2. I altered, you might have seen in the time lapse, where the back piece, that piece there, was fixed on. That's because these cups are pretty much 8 inches wide, and it meant that fixing had got nothing. So I altered that, which means that this should clamp on the trailer there. Okay, so we're back with some subtle modifications. In order to get the clamps to clamp onto the trailer, I had to fix on another piece of timber, because I'm just using some oddments I've got lying about, which means that then I can clamp it on the side of the trailer. And done the same this side, so I can clamp it on the side of the trailer. It's pretty good, that. I'm happy with that. Once I've done the cutting, tip them up straight into the trailer, and then as I'm working down the trailer, just keep moving the truncator cups and reclamping it down to the side of the trailer. So on a hole, that's a truncator. modification so I can fit it onto the side of the trailer, and it's worked out really well. Here it is fitted to the original sawhorse part of it, this piece. This catch here for the bungee, I can't get my fingers in, so I had to put this piece of wood in here and a piece of wood in there to lift it. At the moment when the logs come over, when this was down at this level, I couldn't physically get this bobble, I couldn't get it in. Anyway, so that was a bit of a struggle there, even with wet gloves, but we managed it. So that works quite well actually, and it means it's a little bit higher, which is better for my back. I'm only a little guy, but having that a couple of inches higher has made a world of difference. I recommend the Truncator for small diameter roundwood. It's one of the best systems I've used so far. And then after that we're going to be looking at, after that we're going to be